Hey, welcome back to SOP. This is part of the tech series. I was reached out by this group to do a review on a higher powered than I currently have power supply. And what I'm going to do is something a little different. I'm going to compare this with the other one I've got so we can kind of see the differences. This is an 850 gold, which means it's supposed to be more efficient than your average one. And we'll get into all this stuff as we go through it. This is low ripple, which is good, which you want for a computer. You don't want the, let's just say you don't want the sine wave experiencing any bumps in its road as it's waving through. You want a nice, smooth, ripple-free current. So let's get into the box first. We have our bag full of goodies. I like the bag. It's a nice bag. Should help keep everything nice and organized. Got our power cord, and of course we've got all our cables. Now this is a generic instruction book. Covers this 550, 650, and the 850. They kind of skipped the whole 750 thing there. I haven't looked at it yet, but you got your product warranty, which we're going to set that off to the side for now, which will go back in the box. And it's got decent instructions on it. You know, most of your power supplies don't usually have a whole lot of information in their notes here as far as installation goes. They usually talk about the product itself, and they give you one or two tips. Now, you're not going to be able to focus in on that very well, but they give fairly decent instructions for the person who's not used to doing it. Those of us who've done this before can go, whee! So let's go ahead and shove the box out the way. We'll throw a little foam pads out the way. Save our baggie. So this is a Montech Century 850. Oh, you can't read it all out. Let's see if I can get my remote to work. Zoom. Whee! Hey, it works. It's been a minute. It is fully modular. I get some extra. There we go. There's a little extra light. I'm going to turn it so I can see if I can't read these numbers. Let's see. 12 volt from 110. You get your standard 5, 3.3, 12 negative, and 5 volt USB. Or VSB, I'm sorry. Your 5 volts 20 amp, 3.3 is a 20 amp, 12 volt positive is 70.5 amp. Negative is negative 12 volt is 0.3 amp, and your 5 volt SB is 2.5. And they're measuring their wattage now. I'm going to say one thing. Let's see if I can get this up here so you can see it. A lot of your power supplies, when they go to rate them, will take and add up all these numbers and give you your total supply. This one looks a little different. They actually have listed here for your wattages here, and it's 845 watts on your 12 volt, or 846. Hold on. Yeah, 846 watts on the 12 volt side. That's pretty impressive. So I mean, just off the numbers alone, this seems like it's pretty decent. And when you're running multiple video cards or a whole lot of extra accessories through your computer, you want as strong of a power supply as possible. That's why I'm running a 750 in my computer, because I have a lot of stuff, a lot of USB, pulling lots of extra juice off my power supply. And a decent video card. I mean, it's not high end, but it's not low end either. It is an MSI oh heck, I even forget what it is now. I can see it, but I don't remember. Anyway, it's an NMSI system. But what I'm going to do next is something most people don't do. Is we're going to crack it open. Scary. We're going to look at the internals. I'm going to have to go find me a screwdriver. Void if removed. Well, it's going to be removed. And the manufacturer's probably going to say, ah, don't do that. Uh-oh. I have no fingernails. There we go. Very, very gently we remove the sticker. And we'll just stick it here. That way we still have it. It's still on the system. Let me find a screwdriver real quick. That was quick. Let's see if this will work. It may be too big. Yeah, that one's too big. Okay. I have another one right here that's not. So why are we going to look on the inside? Well, I'm going to look on the inside and look at the capacitors, the chokes, the voltage coils, and then I'm going to check it against another one so we can see the difference. Because most people don't, take the time to, let me zoom you back out a little bit. Most people don't take the time to understand what's in a power supply or how it works. They just grab one, throw it in, and hope. Having repaired computers and power, slot machines, I have a very, very deep understanding of the electronics that go into them. I'm just making sure I'm doing the right screws here. Might not have. Hold on. Got to be very, very careful. We don't want to damage it, we want to be able to use it. Alrighty. So as not to create too much of a havoc tension on my fan here, we're going to slide that way. I need me a little extra light. Brought to you by Olight. Don't worry, I'm not an Olight fanboy, I just happen to have one. So it's nicely laid out. The heatsink wrench is right here. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Oops, wrong direction, silly. Some extra light on it here. Hold on, I need an extra hand. No, Charles won't work. Charles is busy playing his video games. Ain't that right, boy? You're busy playing video games, ain't you? Yeah. See? Told you. There we go. Alright. Improvisation. So your heat sink right here is very thick. I like that. Nice solid piece of aluminum. Heat sink here is nice, it's finned. Got another nice heat sink here. Another heat sink here and here, which is nice. The cooler you can keep it, the more efficient it's going to be, because heat is an enemy of anything electronic. You got 2 chokes. So that's pretty decent. The build quality looks really nice. I don't see a bunch of excess solder laying all over the place, which I have seen in the past in other power supplies from other companies. All the chokes are nice and clean. All the capacitors are flat top. None of them are domed over, which means they've gotten overcharged. And sometimes that can lead to them going real quick. Overall, I like the build quality. It's really clean. A little more light. That better? There we go. So, yeah, everything's nice and clean. Thermal paste here on your FETs. Little thin, it looks like on maybe this one, but there is thermal paste on all of them. And it's still moist, which means it's not dried out. It hasn't been sitting somewhere overexposed to heat, which will cause your thermal paste to dry out over time. It's decent quality thermal paste. And that's the same for everything that's got a heat sink. All your thermal paste is nice and moist still, and I kind of like that. Gives me confidence in being able to run it. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to go dig out my other power supply, and then we're going to move this out of the way, of course. I'm going to open it up so y'all can see what the inside of that one looks like. Alright, now this is the Segotep, which I've already done a review on. If you've watched the channel enough, you'll have seen the review on it. It's also here in the tech series. So one thing you'll notice is the new one, the 850, is smaller than the 750. Some people would say, oh, well that's got to mean the 750 is better. No. So if you look here, this is all nicely packed. You know, it's not crammed, but it's packed nicely. There's quality attention to quality here. I'm not saying there's not with the Segotep. I already know Segotep's good. I have no issues with it. It's run great so far. But there's room. So if you take that little extra bitty room there out, you're going to be pretty close to the same size. So don't let size fool you. The only benefit to the extra room there is they got a bigger fan. If you can look at it, both, I don't know how well you can see that because I can't see it very well on that little teeny monitor. So zoom in a little bit. If you look, both have a shield on the fan right here and right here. That helps direct air to the needed areas. That's not a bad thing. It's forcing the air over top of your heat sinks, which I think you can see in the camera in here. Back out just a little bit more. So, if you look here, can't really turn this one up too much because it's putting strain on that. There we go. Do it this way on this one. Come here, hands work. If you look in here, it's all nice and clean, just the same. Chokes look good. Capacitors are all good. Of course, I know it runs good, so. I mean, I've had no issues out of this at all. It hasn't overheated. No, it's run the way it's supposed to. Sit, Ubu, sit. So, I mean, as far as, slide this one over. Component quality. I can't see the FETs on this one very well because they're buried underneath a massive heatsink, which I like the heatsink on this one better than this one. I like the fact that it's finned. It gives more heat dissipation, which is important. Again, heat is the enemy of electronics, but I like this heatsink better than just straight piece of aluminum. So, you know, guys, when you watch this, understand that more heatsink, more better. Less heatsink, not so good. So if you're going to change anything about this after you've seen this video, change your heatsink. Put a finned style heatsink on it. It will improve efficiency over time. That will not hurt. That will always be a benefit. Coils look good. I mean, two nice big chokes here. We got two chokes here as well. This one's got a little extra board over here, but this one doesn't. Well, let me rephrase that. What they've got here, this power supply is sitting here on two smaller boards. So, again, you know, every manufacturer lays them out different. So, but both have large cap next to this one. Got a smaller one there. Got the smaller one there. So, component for component, You know, they got big yellow one there, that one's there. Without actually going to schematic level, I'm going to say this one is going to be just as good as this one. Like I said, I know the 750 runs good. I've already reviewed the Seiko Temp. It's been running great so far. As far as component level looks, the way everything looks, the way it's built, with the only minor change I would make would be to the heatsink here. This one should run just as good, if not a little bit better, more efficient. So, excuse me. Get the box back up here so you can look at it again. This is the Montech Century fully modular power supply in 850 gold. Again, the only thing I would change is this heatsink. I'd put it in, I'd get a nice finned array for it, like that's here on this Seiko Temp. And I think this one, you know, run a little bit cooler. It's always a great thing. So I like the smaller form factor of this one than the Seiko Temp, which inside a computer case gives me more room for airflow. So that's a benefit there. Other than that, I don't see any problems with the Montech. Everything's clean, looks good. Give me a few months and I'll give you an after run report, so to speak. So until next time, this is SOP. Thanks for watching Tech